Hey friends, it is Michelle here, one of the twins from purelytwins.com, and if you're watching this over on our YouTube channel, hello, and if you are new, welcome, and then if you're listening over on our podcast, The Lori Michelle Show, hello and welcome back. In today's episode, I am discussing eczema. I have all that I could find that I kept of my food journals, all my information on phototherapy and the treatments that I did finally use that got me to healing, and then everything else I did. So in today's video, I'm going to be chatting about eczema, giving a little bit more of a overview plan here all in one spot. I know my previous journey, my previous videos and things over the years, it was like a video here, I talked about the supplements I use, a video here, I talked about the lotions and diet and things like that. So here I'm going to kind of put it all together in an overall plan, not really like step by step, this is what I recommend, and I'll get into that here, what I mean by that. So if this sounds good, stay tuned. I hope today's episode serves you. So yes, like I said, in today's video, I'm going to be sharing a little bit more of a step-by-step process that I recommend. Many of you have commented or reached out to me and messaged me about more about eczema, lots of questions, what I did, things around diet, phototherapy, and everything else in between, and I feel y'all's frustration. I pray my video serves you today and that you benefit something from it. I do want to disclaim though, I can't promise that you will heal from something I share from you today. I pray you see improvement in your skin, and of course I pray for healing. I actually have my list here of those that have reached out and commented that I'm praying for you that have eczema, so if you haven't done so already, I would love to pray for you. So make sure you leave a comment, or you can message me as well so I can add you to my eczema hero prayer list that I pray over every day for you guys, because I understand the frustration. If you don't know my journey, I'm not going to get into my journey right here at the start. I'm going to get right into my tips. But if you stay towards the end, for those that are interested in hearing a little bit more of my journey and all that I went through, all that I tried, because I understand where you've tried everything, you've done all the blood work, test work, you're at the point you're just frustrated. So I'm going to share everything that I did, like I said. So this video might be a long one, so join along with me as we discuss skincare, eczema. So I'm going to share here my steps of approaching how to heal eczema, or at least improve your eczema. Now these steps aren't in any particular order, they're just things I highly recommend. You might need to look at all of them, because what I've learned on my journey, it sometimes isn't just one thing that can help improve your eczema. You might have to do a few different things, and depending on your journey and your own lifestyle, you might have to do it all. So these are the 7 things that I used all in conjunction to help heal my skin. I also do want to mention I am a Christian. I believe in Jesus and the healing powers of him. But again, like I mentioned in my previous eczema video, I'll make sure I link that down below. Healing is not a promise in the Bible, but I also do want to mention, no matter what you believe, no matter your faith background, I do want to help you heal. I don't want anyone suffering from eczema. I know the pain, not only physical pain, but the emotional pain that it can do on a person. So again, I'm here praying for all to be healed, and I pray again my tips help you. Let's get into them. So the first thing I would always recommend people is to pay attention to what has changed in your life, the stress in your life, what has changed in your life. Reflecting back on my journey, my biggest outbreaks always were around something that changed in my life. So my first bit happened right, I guess, after I graduated college. Probably like most people, I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I was kind of in a state of crisis. I had just no idea what I want to do with my life. So it was very stressful at that time. So that's kind of when I first noticed it, and then each year, again, it got worse and progressed. And then my biggest outbreak is when I started sharing it online, was when Lori and I decided to go all in on our business. So that was a very big risk we took, a big change in our lives. So that was another time my skin flared up. And then now on days when I notice me getting outbreaks, and most likely it's been minor ones, and again, mostly on my legs, which is how it started back in 2011 when I ever first got diagnosed with eczema. So I know for me, stress plays a big role. So again, I always recommend people pay attention what has changed your life, not just like jobs or financial things, but emotional stress. You can also look at environmental stress. Did you move? Did you move into a new place, a new location? So environmental stresses can also play a role. Also pay attention, have you added anything different into your diet or taken something out of your diet? You can also pay attention to the products you're using in your house, or maybe that you're not using, but if you're living with someone, like, are they using something new or different? Because with eczema, your barrier to your skin, and then also I learned in my journey, my gut health wasn't very strong, I guess, compared to other people. So therefore my immune system was always attacking itself. So, and eczema is an autoimmune disease. Through my years of research, it's not talked a lot about in that sense, but it is an autoimmune disease. So I do, as we'll get here, I do believe your health of your gut does play a role into that, and what you eat and things like that. But again, like I said, it's not everything. I think you need to look at all different factors, because maybe you've tried all the diet route and you have that pretty crossed off. You know your body well, you know what to eat and stuff like that. I'm gonna get into that more here. But another thing to look at, again, within this first step of what's changed in your life, I also highly recommend, like I said at the beginning of the video, I'm a Christian, and so my faith is a big part of me. During my darkest hours, I've talked about this before in previous videos, I prayed a lot, crying out to God, and just kept praying to guide me to healing, and eventually I was led there. So I recommend that whatever, again, your belief, whatever your faith background is, I do recommend you need to have something bigger than yourself to get you through, something else that you can lean on for strength. And for me, that is Jesus. That's the strength that gets me through the hard times. And even right now, as I still battle sometimes eczema outbreaks, again, like I said, they're very minor, and I'm now able to kind of control them and things like that. I lean on that when it happens. I go into prayer, or I do something. So I recommend in this, to really evaluate your life and pay attention to just maybe certain areas of your life that have added more stress, and then have something bigger than yourself to lean on. Okay, the second thing to look at or to need to approach in your eczema healing is finding a good doctor. Now, I will admit, this is probably the hardest and the most frustrating part of your journey. I know you might be thinking, but I'm dealing with itchy, burning skin and bleeding. That's hard enough. Yes, I understand, but finding a good doctor is hard these days, in my opinion. Reflecting back and on my journey, and I might be missing some doctors that I saw, because I saw everything possible out there and anything in between, from traditional doctors to non-traditional to Western, like natural alternative. I tried it all, emotional stuff, everything. So I went through about, I would say, like almost 5 different dermatologists, could be more. Like I said, I might be missing 1, 2 different naturopath doctors, a couple allergists, 2 or 3 different times I saw different allergists. What else? I saw an innate doctor. I went to a nutritionist for some particular food allergy testing. And then eventually to the doctors at the end that helped me. One helped me more with the internal stuff, battling my candida and stuff, and getting my gut health back, as the other doctor helped me with the phototherapy and outside of my skin appearance, which I'm going to get to those steps as well, as I know a lot of people have questions on that. The reason why I say recommend you have to find a good doctor, and in my journey, when I first got diagnosed with eczema, it was back in 2011. They didn't really tell me much about eczema. They said, oh yeah, you have eczema, here's your prescription, get the steroid and just put it on it when it itches. What? That's not a healing protocol, and even back then, I was already kind of more aware of a lot of doctors these days, and I'm not trying to throw doctors under the rug or anything like that. I'm just trying to be honest journey of what I've noticed, because even my older sister, who had a lot of major gut problems and stuff, even on her journey of discovering what's going on with her, it's rough. And I know a lot of other people have reached out to me sharing their journey, and it's handing someone a prescription is not always the best solution for most people. And so I knew that back then, just taking this, I never used steroids. I never took steroid pills. I used one time a steroid cream lotion. Again, this was back in 2011. I used it once. It didn't really help at all. And I decided not to finish my prescription at all. And I just figured that it just didn't sit right with me. I just knew from the beginning, I was already kind of aware of natural other ways of healing, that just wasn't going to heal me. It was just going to just cover it up and maintain it, but it's not a way to truly heal. Getting to the deeper things going on. And that's another thing I just want to add on to the frustration of healing your eczema. There's so many different reasons why someone could get eczema, different triggers we all have. We all have different, again, stresses in our life, exposed to different environmental factors, have different food available to us. So I just want you to make note of that, when you see other people sharing their journey, I don't want you, and even from hearing my story, even though I've healed, and you're maybe still in the midst of struggling, and some of you guys have mentioned you've been struggling for years. Like one girl who messaged me on Instagram said she's been battling for 15 years. That's a long time. I want you to know that I battled it since 2011, but 3 years when it was very severe, when it covered me from head to toe in really big patches, which is, you guys seen a lot of my pictures on that, me sharing my journey along that. So I just want you to know, for those that have been battling a long time, I applaud you. You are strong. I hope you realize that. And also, if you are a fellow believer like me, you may not receive healing on this side of life, but you are promised it in your eternal life. So you cling to that promise, whatever you do, and then you just pray for God to give you strength to get through it, to kind of survive it here. I just also want to mention along with that, some of you might be wondering, well, why do some people heal and others don't? Why some heal quickly and some have to suffer through longer? And honestly, I can't answer that. No one really can. I just trust in the Lord that He knows what's best. He knows what's best for you. You have to trust in your plan. You have to trust in it. You keep praying about it. You never stop praying about it. Ask other people to join in on praying. Like I said, I'd love to pray for you. And if you do not have peace and hope, I highly recommend you open up your Bible and start seeking where peace and hope is found, and it's through Jesus. But along with finding the doctors, I did want to mention the reason why you also need a doctor is because some of the blood work that I got done, and I'm going to list them all here for you guys. Again, I'm going to give a whole recap, more detailed, everything written out for you guys. So if you don't have a pen and paper right now, you can just head over to our blog, purelytwins.com. I'll link that all up in the show notes down below. But that way you can see exactly all the tests I did. I have a lot of them here, all the supplements I took throughout my whole journey. I'm going to share with you guys, focusing mostly on the ones that helped me the most, but then like I said at the end, I'll share all that I did for those that are interested. The two big tests I recommend you focus on, you see the gut health as well as Candida. I also recommend if you can get a full, as much blood work done on yourself, you can really understand what's going on in your body, get your vitamin D levels checked, if you can get your omega-3 levels checked, your iron levels, your zinc, vitamin A, even as much as you can, much as your doctor will allow or that you can afford. If you suffer from digestive issues, I highly recommend you getting a gut and stool test done. I do, like I said, being eczema, being an autoimmune disease, do think your gut health is highly related to your skin health on top of other things, like I said, environmental stress, emotional stress, and things like that. I'm going to go in here. The next step I want you to look at is your diet. And there are food tests out there you can get done to test if you're sensitive or allergic to foods. If you've already done it and you got no results, I understand that's exactly how I was. And my twin sister, who did the same thing when she was suffering from severe acne, the same thing. She got no change in her skin from avoiding the foods this blood work said she was allergic to. I know food testing is a kind of, I don't know if I would say a sensitive topic, but I know some people have gotten great results from avoiding the foods and some haven't. I would say if you can, save your money, and I recommend, I'll give the book that I used, the diet protocol I followed. I actually did a whole separate video on that as well, and if you guys want me to dive deeper into more of that, I will if you have any more questions around it. But in general, I recommend this book. I followed the protocol, like I said. I'll link up to my other eczema video on the diet that I did during that time. I did that in conjunction, though remember that, though. So I did that elimination diet. It's a very strict elimination diet. I did it for about 2 months before I started adding other foods in. I did it in conjunction with the phototherapy as well as battling my Candida with some supplements. So do keep into account that other things I was doing along with elimination diet. I have actually here two or three journals here of me keeping track of, I wrote down what I ate for a snack, what I ate for a dinner, what I ate for dessert, and then I would make a little note how did I sleep, did I itch, how's my skin, is it dry, and I would keep track of it. I probably could have done a better job. I believe I also did another video sharing my food, tips for keeping a food journal. As much information as possible, making sure, I wrote down that I took a zinc and a B complex. So I did my best to keep track of also the supplements I was taking, what lotions I was using, did I itch, when did I notice I'm itching. As much detail as you can when you're keeping a food journal, because I do believe you know your body best. You may not think it. You might think you need to rely on someone else telling you what to eat and stuff, but I highly recommend, you probably know your body best if you really sat down and spent some time reflecting on what you eat and when you know it's triggering. Also, notice what affects you and your gut health, because again, like I said, that plays a big role. So again, I kept a whole journal. I have 3 journals of me keeping track of what I ate and things. So with that being said, if you don't know my past, Lori and I had an obsessive behavior of being obsessive over what we ate. We went through a period of time where we struggled with orexia, which was we obsessed about every little thing that we ate. So I don't want you to become obsessive with keeping a food journal. I don't want you to become thinking that, oh my gosh, I didn't record this much detail, I didn't do it right. I don't want you to come approaching it in that sense at all. I do want you to give yourself grace and compassion toward yourself along this journey. Again, I wasn't perfect and I was able to heal by the grace of God. So I just want you to remember that. Like, don't go into the mindset thinking this food journal is the all or nothing to help you solve your eczema, because it may not. If you have been doing elimination diet, maybe you have worked with a doctor and you've done one, or you've been doing one for yourself, keeping track of your own journal, what you've been eating and stuff, and you don't really notice anything changing, you're getting frustrated, right? So I understand the frustration along that. So I would say just go to God, turn to Him, pray, reach out. He's the only one that can guide you on your steps, because your healing journey is going to look a little differently than to mine or to the next person. You might have some things that help you. I know some of you guys have mentioned already on my Epsom Salt bath video that's helped a lot. That was a huge factor for me. Some of you guys have mentioned that the phototherapy has been your saving grace, and it was for me as well. So different things I'm hoping maybe you didn't know about or you never tried, will give you some insight that you need. But I would always say, go to God about it. Say, I heard Michelle say this. Is this for me? And just sit with it, pray over it for a little bit. I know how frustrating it can be to know what foods trigger you, because you've probably seen videos out there, avoid this food for eczema, or only eat these foods. And I just want to make note that that's very generalized. You still need to tweak and be aware that it may not always be the right answer for you. There are certain foods that I avoid. I can give a list of them here of the foods I avoid, and that was just through over years trial and error. And honestly, I don't really crave those foods or feel like I'm lacking anything either ways from not eating them. I do sometimes have them from time to time, like pizza, which has the tomato sauce on it, but like I'm not seeking to eat them in my daily life. I eat other foods. I really recommend you focusing on just balanced eating, especially if you suffer also from candida. And I did other videos in the past, and I'll retouch up on it here. There's a lot of wrong information out there about battling candida. A lot of people that share candida diets and stuff, and I tried almost every single one and they didn't work until I got to my doctor, who helped me lead to a supplement to take, and then to the book that I'll get a link down below, the Digestive Health book that helped me with her protocol. It's really about finding a balance, and how you best do that. Going back to what I was saying earlier, you have to know for yourself. You really have to sit down, take a few days, and kind of evaluate your diet and your lifestyle. How much sugar are you really having? What is your past with it? Because I know for me, a big reason why I think that led me to get candida is because of my past of up and down with my dieting. Going through moments when I was completely restricting just to binge like crazy on the weekends. I did that for years. So that destroyed my gut health. And I also learned along my journey of discovering what diet and what works best is that every time you change your diet, especially drastic changes, which I did the extremes, like cut stuff out cold turkey and like just extreme way of doing things. I don't recommend that at all for anything. But anytime you change your diet, you change your gut health. You change the flora that is happening in your gut. So if I already was struggling from having yeast problems, yeast overgrowth, which is what candida is, and then me constantly changing my diet, it was just making this situation worse. And then later on, when I went and got more of my gut work done, I noticed then I was told I had gut dysbiosis as well. So just to aid on all of that stuff, my digestive issues were a mess, and I struggled with that ever since I was a little girl. Digestive issues was my number one issue that I was focusing on fixing as 6 years old, as young as I remember having digestive issues. So it was a long track of me changing my diet and experimenting. So my poor stomach, I wasn't aware of what I was doing. No one was back then. There's obviously now a lot more studies and science based around things. I do recommend still mostly your best that you can to eat a real foods diet. And not saying you can't have other type of foods, I do. It's just more of like limiting them. If you are extremely though in a very heightened state with your eczema, like it is just out of control, that's the time when I recommend that you really need to be careful with what you're eating, just to calm stuff down, to get your inflammation down. There's a lot of sometimes eczema that's happening in your diet is inflammation happening in your body, and your body's trying to fight, or there's a trigger, something you're eating has something on it from a chemical or something, and it's just triggering something in your body, or it's throwing off something in your gut health. So this is a time when I recommend that you might have to be, when you are experiencing an extreme flare, is when you need to maybe just be very careful with your diet and what you're eating, and not saying go extreme, don't go the extreme route, just be more mindful of what you're eating, what you're consuming into your body, and take a break from certain foods, lots of sugary foods. And I know one person did ask me around my diet and all the different eliminations that I tried. mentioned, I took out, you know, avocados, eggs, fish, meat, nuts, I mean everything I tried taking out. But she asked me about, I think it was coffee, and I did go through periods of taking out coffee, and I would do a month here. Then I didn't see any improvement though from me not drinking coffee, so then I would add it back, and then I thought it was happening again, so then maybe I reduced it. So I did experiment with taking coffee out. For me, I realized it's not a trigger. So I pray if you like coffee, it's not a trigger for you as well. You have to decide for yourself. I knew my body well enough, and I also, when I did that diet and when I ate the candida, I knew that I could handle tahini. That was something I added in. It was not recommended on the ladies protocol, but I knew I needed something else for energy, for fat, to keep me, because it was a very limited diet. And I recommend also during that time, and I believe I talked about in that video, I do recommend that time you do track how much you're eating, because you don't want to undereat. Because if you're undereat, your body's not going to be in a state to heal. It's going to be in the state to keep you alive. So if you are healing and you're experimenting with your diet and you're afraid to eat, so you're eating less and less, that's probably causing more harm than good. So I really recommend you pay attention to how many calories you're eating, because you want to be in a state where your body has enough to survive, and so everything else is using to aid in healing you. I know for me, during that time, I ate a lot of coconut oil, but any form of high fat, good quality fat. If you like meat, you can go that route. Avocados, nuts and seeds. Again, if you know that you're okay with those things as well. But I know for me, I needed a different fat for more calories, and I added in tahini at that time. So that's what I just want to make sure you know, is make sure you are eating enough so your body can actually be in the state of healing, not just surviving. Then some other things I recommend you look into is supplements. Again, you can work with your doctor. I'll give a detailed list over on our blog, again, purelytwins.com, of all the supplements I took. But the supplements that I highly recommend that I still take from here today is, I consider this a supplement, some people may not, but is gelatin of some form, collagen. Laura and I have been taking this for years. And not only has it helped with our nails and our hair, but it does, I feel, help with my skin and gut health. I highly recommend you look into it. I just put it into smoothies or stir it into yogurt. There's different ways you can get gelatin in your diet. There might even be supplements out there these days. I don't know, but I've always just taken the powdered form. I believe there's even like protein powders you can get that have it in it as well. I can't remember. I think it's Ancient Nutrition or something, the one I've tried in the past and we liked. It does provide a little different, there's just a little different texture and taste, but it does all right. Other things that I still take today that helped me during my time is some type of an omega-3 type of oil. During my really bad days, I found Borgia oil to help the best. I don't take that anymore, but I did during my extreme healing time, and it was very nourishing from the inside out to my skin. Nowadays, I just take some type of omega-3 fish oil. Right now, I supplement it in with krill. This is krill fish oil, so you can change it up too. Like, you know, you maybe do Borgia oil here, a fish oil here, krill oil there. Whatever works for you, whatever can fit into your budget, but I do recommend some additional supplement to get those good healthy fats into you. I do also try to aim to eat salmon once or twice a week to also give that to me as well. I also eat a lot of nuts and seeds. I have nuts and seeds just about every day, so that's something I also have. Another supplement that I take that I still recommend, that I took a lot during my healing journey, is a form of vitamin D. I particularly take the vitamin D3, and so I highly recommend you look into that. I think a lot of people need this as well, and it's a big aid into healing skin. And then again, I'll list all the other supplements that I took with my doctor during that time. So other stuff she had me taking, I was taking something for help. I also suffer from high cortisol levels. Stress goes back to the first factor. You pay attention to your stress. So I was taking a supplement to help reducing my cortisol levels. Again, I'll give a complete list over on purelytwins.com. I also was taking a multivitamin that had iron in it. Let's see, I was taking a probiotic at that time. And then I was taking a B complex that contained a methylated version of B12 and folate. And then the vitamin D3. So that's the stuff that I was taking during those months that I was also taking the phototherapy, and then I was taking some things to help fight off the candida. So moving on to the next factor, the next area, next step that I recommend you looking into. Phototherapy, that was a big part of my journey. Again, I did a whole video and post on that. I'll make sure to link that up. I actually found all my notes on it when I got it done. and I wanted to show you guys. I thought it'd be kind of interesting. Where is it? I got to show this too. This was all the different blood works I got done. Again, I'll link to all the different ones I got done and all my different. This has showed my cortisol levels. This showed my vitamin D, my B vitamins, and then my gut health and stuff like that. So I'll make sure I show you guys a link to all the different blood work I got done. So here I found all my paperwork. Thought it'd be kind of fun to show you guys the phototherapy sessions. Again, you only go for, I went like 2 or 3 times a week, I think. So I would have a calendar here, and I just marked what days I went and crossed it off when I went. So I was keeping track of my overview, and then this was my actual appointments from my actual doctor, listing when it was, my time, my appointments. So I just thought I just wanted to show you guys. I went for about, I think it was, this was at one doctor, and then I transferred to another one. I think it was going on about almost 3 months worth of going 2 or 3 times a week. And you only go for a few seconds, as I mentioned, and it's a special type of light for your skin. So I do highly recommend phototherapy if you can, if you have access. I would definitely reach out to your dermatologist and, or research in your area or around your area. Like, I had to drive a good bit to get to the phototherapy. It was not one near me. I had to drive to it. So I wanted to recommend that. Another thing to look into is lotions. I do recommend doing your best to keep your, again, this is the area I struggle with, I'm not great with it, is keeping your skin moisturized from the outside. And I still today use it, I used it then, is the Eucerin Cream, but they have one that actually says, make sure it says eczema relief on it. And I've been using that ever since then. That was back in 2012, 13. I still use it now. And I highly recommend this one if you're looking for a lotion. I tried a lot of different ones. Again, I shared all the different ones in the past before, but this is the one I still use today. I highly recommend it. I like it a lot. It's thick and it moisturizes my skin great. One thing that I did want to mention though, I have found, and let me know if anyone else that's suffering, if you experience this as well, I noticed when I am going through a big itching outbreak, if I put lotion on in the middle of itching, it tends to make it itch more. So what I recommend, and this is going to kind of end out my last thing I want you to look at, is you have to find other ways to get your mind off your eczema, off the itching, which is one of the hardest things to do, right? Especially when you're in intense flame. There's a few different things I want to share that I do to help get my mind off of it. One is, I mentioned earlier, my faith is a big part of me getting through my dark times, and it was then prayer. I prayed a lot then, and I still pray a lot now. And so that's one thing I do, is I just go and be in the presence of God. And now, if you don't know Laura and I's journey, we are also now reading the Bible and sharing what we're learning along the way. So that's something else I added into being in the presence of the Lord, is not only through prayer, but I also read the Bible, and that helps give me the sense of peace and hope again. Another thing that I recommend that I do when I'm having a big outbreak and I want to itch, or I am already started itching and I just can't seem to stop, is Epsom Salt. I did a whole video on, it's my secret weapon to stop the itch, and I'll make sure I link that up. But it is, and a lot of you guys have said it's helped you, and I'm so grateful to hear that. During my heat of the moment, when I was in the middle of my healing, I would sit in baths of Epsom salt, and I would put it in the baths. It was filled up with it, but then I showed in the video, I would actually take the Epsom salt and put it on my skin where there was the eczema, and it burns. Sometimes if I was still itching, I would use the Epsom salt to kind of just rub on the skin to help relieve the itch, but at the same time adding something healing and soothing. It's a weird feeling. If you had eczema, I know you understand that the feeling that you're getting from itching your skin and how good it feels. So I would turn to Epsom salt to help me to get through those moments, because it kind of gave me that feeling, that sensation, but also putting something like Epsom salt, which is a very soothing and healing supplement. So I'd still recommend that today, Epsom salt, if you don't have time to take a bath, or you don't have a bath option in your house. Today I don't take baths, I do it in the shower, so I just get in the shower. I believe I think in that video I showed actually a video of me in the shower, me showing me doing it, so please make sure you check out that video if you haven't already. But again, I just stay in the shower and just put it on wherever it's itching, let it sit there for a little bit, as long as I can, and then rinse it off. And sometimes I have to do that a few times. But that's another thing that I still do today that I would say is the biggest factor besides the phototherapy that helps with my not itching. The other thing that I recommend to kind of help get your mind off of it is you have to be filling your life up with activities that keep your focus off of it. So what I mean by that is there were days though I just literally sat around in my bed and cried because my skin hurt, I was embarrassed, I was ashamed of how I looked, I wanted my life to end sometimes. I talked about that before. So I understand you're going to have days like that. I'm not saying that you're a bad person because you have days like that. I did, and I understand. But I would say as best you can is to fill your day up with activities that keep your mind off of it. So if that's friends, I luckily have access to be with my nieces every day, and that they're a big help. They always want to play. They always helping me keep my mind off of things. When I also having our own business, me focusing on creating content here for you guys on YouTube or creating content for our clients, like that takes my mind off of what I'm dealing with and to help somebody else. So I highly recommend, there's all different ways you can do that. You don't have to start a business to do that. There's different ways you can just fill your mind and your heart up with helping someone else, serving others. Maybe share your journey of eczema. You'll be surprised how much healing you get through that by connecting with other people and helping someone along their journey. All right, so that ends out my overview of more of what I would do now. Kind of not step by step, like I said, it's not like do this first and see what happens. It's all of these things I recommend you looking at. I know it seems like a lot. Well, it is. To heal eczema, I don't think it's just one thing. In my opinion and from my research, it's not just doing one thing to heal it. It's doing this, all of it. And depending on where you are with your eczema, some things might have to be more, I said, like with your diet, you might have to be more strict during a certain period, or maybe you're just in the maintenance mode like me, just be aware of your stress and keep up with your lotions and supplements and things like that. I hope this has helped and served you, give a little bit more of a plan or an action step or ideas that for you to take into account. Your lifestyle stuff, your diet, your supplements, working with a doctor to get test work done. Again, I will at the end of the video, I know I mentioned at the beginning that I was going to go into a more detailed story of all that I did, and I realized this video is already pretty long. All the blood work I did, all the supplements I took, everything that I went through, and then for those that want to kind of see it in a written format, I will have it over on the show notes that go along with this episode, which I will link below. But like I said, I have all of my documents here, all the different test I got done. This is one of the first stool tests I got done. I think it was back in 2011. Back then, I got diagnosed with Candida. At the same time, got diagnosed with eczema at 2 different times. I did not at that point put the two together. One thing too that was interesting, just reflecting back on this, I honestly forgot all that I did. So I could be missing something along this journey, but I just thought I wanted to show you guys. This is all the different paperwork from my doctor. This is one of the naturopathics I went to. I told you I went to 2 different ones. I can't find the paperwork with the other one, so I'm not sure what I did with that. But this is for one of them, and I was on almost every time I went every 2 weeks to her. We kept track of all the supplements, all that I was doing, and again, I was not getting better at all. I even went on a special elimination diet using one of her products, and it didn't work. It's actually when my eczema started getting worse. I talked about that in the past. But all the different allergy tests I got done, it's just crazy. And I know a lot of you guys have reached out to me about allergy tests done, and I said again, you might just have to notice, like I have to be aware I am sensitive to environmental allergies. I had major sinus infections a few years ago. Was it last? It was 2 years ago. And so I am very aware I have that, and there's other things I'm sensitive to. So I just want to make notes. I also did the MRT leak testing. That's the food test I got done. Again, I don't recommend it. I recommend you just do your own elimination diets. Get the book that I got, give it a try. Save your money on food testings. I also went to a NEAT doctor, which is a kind of alternative way of healing. And this is my blood work on it. I think I went on one of my videos, I showed you guys all this stuff. But I just went through it all again. I just wanted to show you guys. I understand what it's like that you've tried everything. You've seen all different types of doctors, kept your own food journals. Pray that one of my steps, one of the things that helped me, whether it's a supplement or the gut testing I got done, serves you. If you have any more questions and you want me to do any follow-ups answering eczema, I would be happy to do so. It was around this time that I finally started healing back. I guess it was 2015, and each day, each week it got better. One thing I do want to remind you guys, with the Epsom Salt and with the phototherapy, I know I've had questions on that before. They still, like in the day you use it, for the Epsom Salt, like it itches while you were like having the Epsom, like it burns. And you might notice some tingling, but overall, the bigger picture, it overall helps reduce the itch. For many days, it holds off my itch. Until today, I maintain it with Epsom Salt baths. And then with the phototherapy, the day I got it done, it still itched. So you have to, again, like I said, fill your day up with other things. to distract you from the itching as best you can. Whatever you can do, I would say keep your hands busy, keep your mind focused on other things as best you can during that time. All right, friends, so that's going to wrap up my video. Like I said, I'll give the full recap over on the blog. I'm not showing all that I did. And again, if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer any of them. But again, I may not have the answer that you're looking for. I can't promise you healing. If you're just losing hope and you really don't know what else to do, what I kind of mentioned at the beginning of the video is what got me through is by faith. And if you haven't already, I encourage you to open up a Bible and just start letting Jesus work through you, heal you. You can focus on the chapters of Jesus' healing, starting in the Gospels, if that gives you hope and strength. Lori and I still plan on sharing our thoughts around that as well, but I highly encourage you to let the power of Jesus to work through in your healing journey, because I can't tell you exactly what to do to heal. You need to be in a relationship with our Creator and see where He guides you, because your healing journey is going to be a little differently than mine and the next person's, like I said already. So I pray for you. Again, if you want me to pray for you, make sure you leave a comment below. And if you know of anybody that would benefit from hearing this message, or if you know dealing with eczema, please share this with them. I really appreciate the support. Like I said, I want to help as many people as I can with their eczema. Again, I can't be the one that heals them, but at least maybe I could give them a tip or an aid to kind of get through it. I went through it for a reason, and I thank God every day again for His grace, for healing me. And I feel like now I'm able to use my story to glorify Him, to remind people of where true healing comes from, and it comes from the Lord, not from the supplements. It comes from Him. Start there. If you're completely lost, I encourage you to look into your faith. Where do you believe? Where is your hope in? And start from there. And I wish you all the best. I appreciate it. If you watched to the end of this video, thank you so much. All right, I'll see you in the next one.